Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the video. This time we're going to get started on the SH Figuarts Taskmaster from Black Widow. Again, I'm exhausted, you guys. Birds are chirping though, so that's a good look, right? Yeah, let's get started on the video. First and foremost, let's get a look at him, see what's going down. Gotta start by saying I really like the way this guy is shaped out to be. While I still like the cape version of Taskmaster, I'm totally fine with an updated modern edition. It's really one of those things where you gotta just work with the times, see what you got, right? So, without further ado, let's get further into it. I have a couple of gripes with this, but again, just like with Black Widow, I think it's come a time where my gripes are being more of personal ones than ones that are otherwise. And one of them being actually very unpersonal, but I do have one big personal one, and I'll get into that in a second. So let's get started. With our head articulation, there is a version with the hood and without the hood. So let's do it with the hood right now, where we're going to talk about how if you look up, this is as far up as you'll get, because even further you'll start to take the head off. So I just want to put that out there right now. You can go left and right. You can swivel the the hood. You can definitely swivel it, and it has a pre-molded design, so it's not like a soft plastic up here. It's definitely kind of tough. It's soft plastic right here on the sides though, so keep that in mind. But you can tilt his head, and you can have some sort of semblance of emotion. So you can tilt side to side, so that's fine. But let's talk about it with the hood off. Let's talk about it. Now, with the hood off though, we get tons of range. Oop, our faceplate came off. But that's part of the visor change, and I'll get to that. I must have not put it all the way in. Yeah, I didn't pull it all the way in, so that one's on me. But yeah, we get tons of range in our head articulation. And with the hood on, because I want to cover it all now, we actually don't lose any range whatsoever with our hood down. So that's actually pretty cool. I'm going to leave the hood down. I actually kind of like it this way. I really like this helmet design. On our torso articulation, upward on the upper torso, we actually have a groove here. So we use kind of a mix of an old and new parts, just shaped in a new way. Our shoulder pads are on the arm. You can see here, it's not a ball joint, it just flaps up and down. So it's old Kamen Rider style, but we do have a crazy butterfly joint that allows you to move pretty far forward. It's gonna get that range you really need, especially when you hold the bow. And when you fold the arm up, you can actually go all the way down. You can actually go all the way up to a 90-degree angle. We can rotate our arm all the way around with no issue as well too. This is my gripe, I'll get into that. We have a bicep swivel as well, and our arms are double jointed. So again, the only issue you'll really have here is that when you are moving it all the way down, you won't be able to flex as much all the way in as you want, simply because the shoulder flap will get in the way. So you have to keep that in mind when you're going to do it this way. But if you rotate it down, you'll actually get a little bit more room in. So keep that in mind. Then we're going to go to our midsection. As far as our midsection goes, I believe we get our standard forward, and then we get a little bit of backwards. That backpack is going to stop you from going further, so keep that in mind. And you can slightly tilt, so you don't get as much tilting side to side as you would like. And then we have our lower articulation, which gives you a little bit more room to go forward. As far as our legs go, we use a drop down method here. We have our thighs. Ooh. Let's try that again. Drop down method, and we have really tight thigh swivel. So mine is really, really tight. So that's going to be a big issue. I might have to loosen that up. But we do have that thigh swivel, and this allows you to move the leg going forward. As you can see, it's the 4th of July, so there's going to be firecrackers in the background. It is what it is, right? I tried to wait until much later, but it didn't work out. So we have a double jointed leg, which works out here. And then we have on the foot, we can tilt forwards, backwards. We have our toe pivot, which is pretty tight as well too. And we have a semi-limited, actually a very limited swivel here. So it doesn't do too much going to the sides. So that's a little bit of a bummer. I think my biggest gripe on Taskmaster right now, my very biggest one, is the simple fact that, and this is the unbiased one, the part swapping. I'm really starting to get tired of that, because you've placed it at a port where his legs meet. And because he has that thigh swivel, which mine is really tight, because boy, it keeps coming out. Because of that, it's going to line up here, and this is always going to fall off. It's not pegged in as securely as it was with Black Widow. because it's just a simple circular peg and not like a, hers is a very different peg. So as you can see here on Black Widow, her peg is actually, that was super tight, and look how it came out. It's a square peg with a hinge in it, and that allows you to actually pretty much get a lot more friction there. That allows you to, you know, save your piece. Now, I've knocked that down so far. So here we are, and the same on the other side. This pouch that's in the way is a big issue. While it is pretty accurate, I'm a little bummed because the way it lines up, it's gonna stop all your articulation. See that? It really stops it. So you're gonna rotate this, and then you can get further out. But again, why am I even using that? I don't need that pouch there. Look at my leg. It goes all the way out. That's really, really nice. I want to keep that. I want to keep that same energy. So if I want to keep that energy, I'm not going to use the holstered gun, because if this would have been nice if they had made it an actual thing where it lined up, and even if it was a different type of mold, you could have made this piece shorter so that way it doesn't line up on the thigh, and you could have been able to remove the gun literally in and out. A lot of other companies are already doing that, and the part swapping thing is really starting to get old, especially when you've gotten to a point where technology-wise, you don't have to keep doing that. You really don't. You save yourself time from friction rubbing and a bunch of other things. I don't know. That's a real personal gripe of mine. But without that being said, though, let's jump into what Taskmaster comes with. I'm going to leave those things off because I really don't like those. Although it's going to make him feel a little naked. So now we jump into the accessories. Let's do that, y'all. Hey, what's up, guys? Now we're going to jump into the accessories. So let's get to that. All right. First off, I think we should go with the shield. The shield is actually pretty nice. It is done differently than that of the SHF cap. As one, it is smaller. As you can see, it can fit under. You know, it's a little smaller in diameter. But also because you see it has a piece here and a handle. Now, there is a dedicated hand that when you hold the sword, you can also hold the handle. But you can actually remove the handle. And if you want to like dual weld or do something cool, which you can do, you can actually slip it through with no problem. You go up a little bit to go up against the paint, just rise up just enough, and it sits on him just fine. As far as the shield being smaller, I don't mind it because I'm pretty sure that's a nod to the original Taskmaster shield being a little smaller, like when he fought the Avengers in the comics. So I'm okay with that. I could be wrong. It could be bigger, but we don't know because we haven't seen the movie. So we'll figure out what happens with that. Next up, I want to talk about the bow, because this is a gripe of mine. The hand is actually separate, but we'll get into that. We have the same kind of Hawkeye bow, which is molded in the same way. They give you a new bow, though, this time, so that's pretty cool. But I think my biggest problem that I'm starting to have is that I would like to have the bow separate. I don't want just the bow already pre-done with an arrow in it. Like, what happens if I want to do cool stuff, like have him attack with the bow, fight with the bow, and things like that? I just don't want to have him just shooting the bow. So I would have definitely liked more of that. So I think that was a little lazy on their end, but who knows? I mean, maybe it could have been a design directive. That's a personal gripe of mine. I'm over that. But you also do get a dedicated right hand for holding the arrow. So that's actually pretty cool. And it holds well, as you can see here. See? Holding. So yeah. Next up, let's talk about, we talked about our side holsters. So this actually pretty much annoys me, and I've talked about that earlier. But you get a non-holstered version, as you can see here. And it would have been cool because it shows here, even as you hold it up here, if you had just cut off an extra bit there on the sides, it would have been able to hold better. You do get a handgun for that. So here's our handgun, which looks pretty cool. There's only one hand dedicated for that. So you'll get one right hand for the gun, assuming you are going to use the shield to protect yourself, as you see on the box art. So yeah. Then we have our two sword and shield holding hands, which means if you want to hold the shield on left and the right, you technically can do that. Except if you're going to hold it on the right hand side, when you put the handle back in, right, the handle is going to end up being upside down. So you'll have to put in the hand from this end if you're going to hold it on the right hand side, just to show you guys, you know, so that way you don't look a little confused when you do that, right? Next up, you're going to get the sword. With the sword, you can actually just take out the hilt. So that's how you're actually going to put it in. So you just take the handle. Again, you go from below, go right up through, sword in hand. No problem. I actually like the sword. I think it's a little small, The sword, I like the orange blade part. I don't know what it is about that, but I really do like that orange pop. You actually get some open palm hands as well. Some open action hands. Not the 3-point kind, but just definitely relaxed hands. And then the really cool trailer hands where you see the Black Panther claw hands. So, and my cats have been on my desk and I'm going to murder them. I'm not really going to murder them. That's wrong. I shouldn't say that. But they're going to get a stern reprimand because they have left hair everywhere. So as you can see the Black Panther hands. They look really good. And it took a while to get us finally some claws on there, but hey, we got it, right? Now, one last thing is that we get the special visor faceplate for the, you know, the masthead. And to do that, what you do is you actually just remove the front plate, which I think it happened earlier because I didn't put it back in properly. I can't even remember at this point. Everything is a blur. And now I'm having trouble removing it, even though it came out so easily earlier. What's wrong with me? So let's actually put this guy down. Doo-doo-doo-doo. And to remove the plate, there's going to be a piece in the middle. That's right here. You're going to just easily push that in. And now the plate comes out. And here you have it. So you can remove that clear visor and have this one put in place. Same process too, just to remove it. So keep that in mind. Oop, I put it upside down. I've done a thing. So I shouldn't have done that because actually now I put it upside down. But let's leave that on, right, for now. So if you want to see it, now you can see how it looks on there. All in all, I like it though. I think it's a nice addition, nice little thing. It was executed well too, because it actually looks pretty seamless. Now we are going to jump into the size comparisons. So let's get to that, guys. Because I wasn't thinking straight, I want to add this in before I jump into the size comparison, is that with this part, when you actually place it in, the visor still goes over. I totally forgot about that. So the visor still places over, and even with a little bit of light on it, you clearly can still see it. So I just want to make sure I throw that in there. So yeah, my bad, y'all. Hey, what's up, guys? Now we're going to jump into size comparisons. So let's get to it. First things first, let's compare him to his Marvel Legends counterpart so we can see how cool he is in these streets, right? So here we are with our Marvel Legends. Towers over the SHF with no problem. But yeah, depending on which one you like, you can kind of just go with what you want, figure it out. I also realized that the Marvel Legends has 2 pouches on the side, whereas the SHF has the gun handle and a pouch on one side. So that's something I've actually just noticed. So yeah, I didn't see that before. I gotta play with mine more often. Next up, let's show him next to Red Guardian. So these two could have a pretty decent fight because this is a pretty decent size. I like the way this looked ever so briefly in the trailer, so this works out for me. Here he is with the Marvel Legends Black Widow, who she kind of works better with him too because she's on a smaller size. So if you want to square these two up, that actually looks pretty decent here. Then we're going to compare to our SHF new Black Widow from the movie 2020. So yeah, there we go. She actually just popped in right there. Real easy. Next up, I want to do Hawkeye, just in case the Budapest mission comes up. This is obviously the wrong body because this is Endgame, but you know, you can be cool like that, right? So I just want to say that. Then let's do, let's do a Lightning Collection Power Ranger, 6-inch. Then we're going to do another SHF, which is Kamen Rider Cougar, obviously. The main man, 50 grand. And he kind of scales pretty well with SHF Kamen Rider. And not too, well, he scales pretty decently with the Power Ranger stuff, so they can have a pretty decent crossover. Next up, let's do a Synthetic Human. I know I have one here somewhere. There we go. And a Ninja. And the reason why I want to do a Ninja is because if you read the comics, you know at one point, Taskmaster was pretty much wanted by every known criminal ever. And it was a pretty wacky series. I really like it. I think Fred Van Lente wrote it. And it was really fun. But you can have Taskmaster pretty much fight anyone because he was a secret SHIELD operative who pretty much trained up all the bad guys after he pretty much lost his memory and a bunch of stuff. So all that cool jazz. So yeah, we have these guys here. And if you haven't, please go read that Taskmaster mini. It's really nice art. I believe Greg Titani was on the art as well. I may have said his name wrong. Next up, we have a Mezco Me on a Gomez body. And as you can see, even eye tower over him, which it doesn't really add up, but Mezco size with SHF normally doesn't work too well. But yeah. Next up, what I want to do is something special. Is I want to compare the Taskmasters, Marvel Legends wise, obviously, with the new SHF, just to show you just transition wise how far we've come. So here's the other movie one. Here's our Udon version, and I love the Udon version. That was a really fun run with Gail Simone, Agent X, her on Deadpool, and Udon is on art. And this is a really cool Taskmaster, which I don't know why I can't get him to stand up, but let's try. Nope, he is not standing, but I'll hold him up. And then we have our classic Taskmaster, which is kind of what we started off with in the comics, and it's really cool to see him kind of return to that. I just added on a different head and a CJ cape. But yeah, it's fun to kind of see this all together. It really is. We've kind of come to a point where we're seeing some of our favorite comic characters come to life on screen. So I'm really hoping we can continue to get that kind of cool stuff, even if it's just modernized versions. I like seeing that kind of stuff, but that's just me. All in all, if you've enjoyed this, please hit that like button. I hope you found it informative as always. And please, guys, as always, be good, do good, drink your water. Later.